Hey there, Star Wars Destiny folks, and hey there, Smash fans. Welcome to Destiny Friday, joined once again by the Smash Master, Dean. How's it going, my friend?
I'm doing well.
So, tonight, he has joined me, and we're going to be talking the future of Smash, some ideas, and more importantly, we're going to be asking you all what you want in Smash. A huge shout out to our channel members for supporting what we do here. If you want to get involved with the channel and the Dice Commando community, please consider joining as a channel member. Remember, these videos are only possible with your support. You can show that support with a like, a subscribe, and by leaving us a comment and sharing your feedback. Community first, and go Commando. Hey there, Star Wars Destiny folks. Happy Destiny Friday. And Dean, happy Destiny Friday to you as well. How's it going, my friend?
I'm excited to be just talking about Smash.
Excited to be talking Smash. So, Dean and I've been talking maybe a little more than usual, maybe on average, I don't know, over the last month or two. And Dean's really been cooking in the kitchen, as it were, for Smash. So, what we wanted to really do tonight was sit down, kind of talk where things are, some ideas we've had for the future, but really get kind of that feedback from you all as to what you think of the ideas, good, bad. Because, hey, if we're going to put the effort in, we want to make sure that it's going to be worth it and it's going to be what the kids want. So, Dean, why don't you start us off by kind of telling everyone what you've been working on behind the scenes and kind of what's going on in the Smash Masters head?
Sure. So, I will say this is not a discussion of the ARH stuff. So, for ARH, if we were to release any more, we'd be waiting for them to release new sets to give us more card pool to choose from. So, ARH is kind of on hold. So, the question is, do people want more from the FFG era? And if we were to play around in the FFG era, of cards, we're probably going to be doing more of the modifications. So
Mm-hmm.
similar to the 2-pack of the Ahsoka Cad Bane, where we took characters that weren't smashable and kind of tweaked their health or abilities to make them smashable. And those two are pretty straightforward of the modifications, but there's also some crazy ideas I've had um, in that space that where we could make more characters, more interesting design that would still use that old FFG stuff that might be sitting in your closet, getting dust on it, and might be a way for you to get extra decks, extra value out of those things. But when we released the CAD and Ahsoka set, like I haven't really seen a lot of people playing it. When I see like Echo Base does like a Smash event, I don't think that they have them added in there to be pulled from. So we weren't 100% sure like what the reception was to that
Mm-hmm.
expansion. And if we're going to be playing around in that kind of space, if people don't, it's not like a nostalgic card necessarily. If we're making kind of a new card with the dice, um, so if people aren't like excited about that idea, then we may not bother.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I mean, there is quite a bit of work involved in that. I mean, we were pretty blunt before that we really wanted to do an Obi-Wan and Darth Maul, but it's very hard to make that. Those two have been very hard to make work, specifically because of where they fell with points and dice.
Hmm.
So, if we're going to go down that road, I think it's fair that we want there to be demand for it. And I mean, on the other hand, right, we're asking the internet if they want free stuff. So, like, it's easy to be like, yeah, we want it, right? But
Sure.
realistically, I think that's a good point that you bring up. Is how often have we seen folks using those two, or do they just want the member berries of their actual Star Wars Destiny dice? I think that's a fair question.
Yeah. So, I mean, I have a ton of ideas. I've built at least 8 decks, and I've teamed up 3 or 4 more that I think would be fun, unique, or are bringing hot characters that do not exist in Smash.
Mm-hmm.
Are also not smashable currently from ARH. Some things harken to ARH cards or harken back to old FFG cards, but would be a new iteration, a new version of things. So yeah, I just want to see what people are hunting, but they're like I said, they're mostly the big names. We do have a pitch that we've built for Maul, Palpatine, getting R2 and 3PO in the game, Plo Koon, things like that are all people that we're kicking around. Um, Possible more people from the Mandalorian or the Mandoverse. Um, Thrawn is someone we've talked about.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, not all of them are like so. For like Thrawn, both of his character dice are bonkers. Very hard to make smash. But there are other dice that have Thrawn on them. So what if we were to take a card like Mastermind, which is not currently in Smash, and what if we determined that those were his character dice? So you make a card where maybe you give it a Thrawn-like ability, but we use the Mastermind die instead, which is not as pushed. You don't have as many 3s and 2s on them. So there's things like that where we can kind of get clever with the dice that we're using. There are some non-unique characters. So what if we made a new unique character out of them? I have an example here. Do you have the Outer Rim Smuggler? That looks kind of like Timothy Oliphant's character, Cobb Vanth.
Mm-hmm.
Could we make a Cobb Vanth using 2 of those with a 1 ranged, 2 ranged, discard, disrupt resource? Like that's a very 15-point character kind of die. So those are the kind of places that we're going to get more use out of the FFG cards. But do people want to go there with us?
Right. Yeah, well, you had mentioned kind of in the intro that there's currently 60 Smash decks if you count the 8 ARH Smash.
Yeah.
Realistically, what do we think is the right number? And then I guess the question on top of that is, if we stop releasing Smash decks, like say we decide at the end of this that we're done, which is not going to happen, by the way, don't panic, right? But say at the end of this, we're like, no, I think maybe Smash is a complete game, to throw FFG's thing back at them. Do people still play Smash? I think they do.
Mm-hmm.
So, where is Dean happy at that number?
So I feel like, if I had to stop here, I think it would be good. I think there's probably a demand for a few more characters from ARH, so that number's a little higher if you do play an ARH variant.
Mm-hmm.
But 52 is strong.
Right.
We got a lot of great characters out there. I have a couple more crazy ideas that would be fun that would mostly use dice we haven't used a lot. So if you did have your old FFG collection around, you could probably still build them. But some of them, if we got into them, you might have to take apart other Smash decks to build them. But if you're looking for something fresh and new, that may still be attractive to you. I've played a lot of this Smash character already. If I have to dismantle my Luke to build an Obi-Wan or something like that, that may be a trade you're willing to make to have something new. And I also, because I don't really care, I play mostly IRL Smash. I can always just keep making these for myself and not have to share them with anybody. So I'm happy with any number. But if people, I can take this to testing and such more seriously. If there is, people actually kind of wanting to see these things when we build them, and because I can build stuff that's crazy, and if it doesn't really work, it doesn't matter. But I put more serious effort into testing if I'm going to be sharing it with the world.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, completely fair. The have you actually, because I haven't, have you sat down and done like the math on where you think, like how many pairings do you need to make sure that it doesn't get quote unquote boring? But then part of, I think, what was cool in like the early phases of Smash was like you knew what every deck was and you knew what the pairings were going to be, or not going to be. Like you knew if you had these two pairings, this was how you played the deck. Whereas I think at some point it becomes unwieldy and it becomes harder to keep that strategy in mind. So where do you think that number lies? Because I think at 52, it's still pretty manageable to know the deck interactions for the most part, right?
Yeah. And most decks do one thing.
Right.
Or maybe they have one pivot they can take. But it definitely helps. Like if you were to go to like the Gen Con Smash tournament, like, there's probably a reason that Sparks won that because he's played them a bunch.
Right.
If you know what all the decks do and you know how you can create a synergy between them. Like I know what's in these decks. I can make these two get along. It definitely benefits you. Um, there's definitely like I don't think 100 is ever going to be feasible. That's going to be too many.
Oh, we could make 100, but it doesn't mean
We
they'd
could
be
make
good.
100, but that would be
Yeah,
yeah, that would be tough
right.
for it to be good. And we're already kind of scraping the bottom for some of the pools of characters. Like, there's definitely a couple things that are still kind of left. I tried to get most of the like the faction types and things like that covered. So, like, here's an example. Um, Plo Koon, I was looking at making him like a blue pilot because we don't have any really blue vehicles in Smash because they're generally terrible. So building a character that kind of makes them more valuable and gets the blue vehicles in the game. So like that would be a new space in Smash. And
But we
there's a handful.
could just wait for FFG because they do have a pilot flow, right? So
ARH, yeah, yeah.
what did I say? FFG? Yeah,
Um,
sorry. Yeah,
yeah. So the ARH one, I think we were just a little light on because they were leaning a bit on reprints
right.
for their blue pilot package. Like I tried to put it together. And actually, I built this Smash variant before ARH released their Plo Koons. They stole my pilot idea. Um, but yeah, we would probably need a little bit more support to do an ARH Plo Koon. But I would be fine with that. I mean, either way, I think getting blue pilots, other than because we have Pilot Luke, which really just gets his X-wing. Um, like all the other blue vehicles don't really have a home. And so like some of the droid stuff, there's a couple droid things that aren't covered. Like we do have the Commando droid, battle droid, but you know, like Grievous on the villain side, R2 and 3PO on the hero side. That's some space. There's definitely some droid type cards that aren't in Smash. So there's a few archetype type things that we still haven't gotten into, but there's not a lot of those left. At this point, we have a couple archetypes we can get into, and then it's really just favorite characters. Like, I would really like to have Mace Windu in the game because I love Mace Windu. I have a purple lightsaber that's more expensive than I probably should own. Those kinds of things. You know, these are people that you like. I like getting some of the Mando stuff in the game. I think would be cool. I think getting Darth Maul in the game would be amazing.
Obi.
But yeah, getting we have OBN with ARH now, so
Well,
like
that's true.
the
That's
itch
true.
is kind of scratched,
That's true.
at least. And his dice were tough, um, to squeeze in there. Like with Maul, to get a little behind the scenes, we're looking at doing the awesome Maul, but giving him downsides, like maybe having a downgrade that starts in play on him to rein him in, things like that. So like you still get to use the cool Maul that you remember, but he was a 20-point character. We definitely got to rein him in, but we want him to do Maul things. Um, so that's kind of where we're at in the experimenting. There's a couple, said the pools of cards that we haven't really gotten to in Smash that would be new, and then otherwise it's really just favorite characters finally finding their way in.
And just to clarify what Dean means on looking at Maul being Big Maul, we want to use Big Maul's dice.
Yeah.
He won't be a 20. What is he? He's 13 point. Yeah, he's a 13 health. That won't be him, right? It'll be a downplayed, but we wanted to use his dice because the alternative is the other dice, which suck.
And maybe even his ability or a variant on his ability, so he
Right.
feels Maulish, but yeah, he can't have 13 health.
Right.
He he would have to have things tweak for him. He might not get the best dice support because his dice are so good. Things like that to rein him in, but like it would be really nice to have Maul in the game. That would be fun.
That would be interesting actually if we didn't give him any dice at all. I wonder if that would work.
You'd probably have to give him some because you can have a character that just doesn't ramp at all. I'd almost rather give him less health, but still give him some dice. Like, and there's a chance to put Maul's lightsaber in the game. Things like that. So like there's still stuff to put there, but you don't necessarily have to put like the sexiest dice on him
Right.
to rein him in. So maybe it's like cards where you don't feel quite as much screaming value, but if you've got 6 resources, you could play the old school lightsaber on him, or something like that, where it's not amazing, or it's gonna be dice that like fixes dice, or he doesn't get a lot more damage dealing dice. Maybe he gets other things.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, interesting. Okay, so then that's. Oh, go ahead, please.
I could probably pull up what I had built for him, but I have definitely played with Maul a couple times. But yeah, I think he was light on dice, on additional dice, but we were trying to give him his ability.
Right. Well, and it's important to keep in mind the true history of Smash, kind of how it developed, right? I mean, Smash itself has creeped over time in terms of how many dice we allowed, right? If you remember Wave 1, when you're first testing for that, I was like 4 dice, 3 dice if they're good.
Mm,
Like you look at someone like a Beckett, who I thought was going to be insane in the format. He has very few dice in his deck.
yeah.
So,
And
but
there are a few people that have more dice, but then a lot of times, like they might have a die that's um, not awesome.
right.
Maybe it helps with the build, or like gives them something, but like it's not the best. But they do have 5. Or if they're really low health characters, we maybe give them a little bit more love to help push them
Mm-hmm.
for the value of what the deck brings. But I think most of them have been playing in the 3 to 4 dice range. So Maul was 3, and I gave him Scimitar, his vehicle,
Oh,
which is like I said,
it's like
not
half a
the best to
die.
die.
Yeah, it's like half a die.
It costs 3. It actually
Right.
has
That's
decent
what I mean.
sides on it, but it
But are you
costs
gonna
a
pay?
lot.
Are you gonna pay 3 when you've got Fear and Dead Men in hand? No, no, you're not.
Maybe not. But if like sometimes in Smash you're sitting on like a ton of resources, or you draw Maul and Jabba, and you just you're
Yeah.
making more money than you know what to do with. Then maybe you do throw Scimitar down, and that would be fun and exciting. Or maybe you draw Maul and a pilot, and Scimitar actually kind of makes a ton of sense. You're trying to get more range sides out there. Like so, sometimes the versatility of these things actually makes them pair better.
Hmm.
So like Scimitar might be something you're looking for, depending on who you pair them with. Um, yep, Maul Saber, Sith Teachings, and Scimitar. Those are the dice
Oh,
I gave
Sith
him.
teachings. Oh, interesting.
So I said not amazing dice, but useful. And because of how powerful he is, Scimitar would stay in play, but neither of his upgrades have redeploy, which kind of reins in his ability a little bit, or his strength. So those are kind of some places where my head's at. Obviously, this I have not fully tested Maul. I've never tested him at all. He's just scrap paper thrown together. Um, but there's lots of characters like that
Mm-hmm.
that are stronger. We were looking at Bo-Katan, who's gotten more and more popular now. She's live action. Katie Sackhoff is out there. So more and more people want to see her, and she's in FFG. So you know, let's see if we can make something happen with her.
Right. Yeah. Fair enough. Actually, you're the one. Well, I'll put up a teaser, but he had a pretty good looking card for her that he was working on in the background. So, kind of with that said, let's turn it over to you all, right? Obviously not for this, but take this time to, give us some comments. What are your thoughts for Smash? What are you hoping for? What would your dreams be? What do you think the right numbers are? And so on, because it'll really help Dean and I kind of chart a path, I think, in terms of, how much effort does Dean put in, which sometimes, ebbs and flows, obviously, but how much
Mm-hmm.
effort does he put in, or is he just building it for him and his testing buddy?
Yeah, I'm curious to see because I think maybe if we had a number, if we knew like we're gonna stop at 60 FFG, so I get 8 more to play with or whatever, then
And
then
those
it's
being
really
all
just winding it
customs.
down. And those would be in theory customs.
Yeah.
Um, is that the number people think we should stop at, and then ARH is kind of a separate thing? Or do people to say like just keep making them and they can just optionally build them or not? Some you might like and think are cool, and others might be like I'm not following him there. That's not what I would have done. You don't have to build it. Um, so yeah, I'm curious to see what people would say. What characters they'd love to see
Mm-hmm.
if they don't exist in Smash currently. Um, we probably could guess which ones people would like. We have ideas out there for a lot of the big ones. I've built an Akbar idea, things like that. It's like there's lots of big names out there that we haven't touched yet. Um, what's their top draft picks?
Yeah, let us hear from you. All right. Well, hey, as we wrap this up, Dean, what's on the horizon for you for gaming in general, right? Whether it's Star Wars Destiny, whether it's Flesh and Blood, whether it's board games, what's your jam right now?
Right now, I am Flesh and Blood. I'm trying to get out every week and kind of play. Although I'm in like a very goofy experimental phase right now. I don't have a deck that I really love, and I don't have any big events coming up. So I've been building a lot of nonsense. I just built a Dorinthia Axes deck, um, things like that. So that's what I've been doing. I have been playing or trying to play more actual board games, and then I always kind of dabble in building these Smash decks. Every once in a while, I'll get a crazy idea and throw something together, and I may or may not send it to you and say like, we think of this stupid idea. Um, I do kind of want like the green light to go on some of them. If not, I just kind of keep stockpiling nonsense.
Yeah, well, some of the ones you threw today, I think, are good, but I am very curious to see what people think, or if they don't
Hmm.
think anything and they don't respond, then maybe you have your answer. I don't know.
Yeah, I know our viewers on the Destiny stuff. It's kind of creeping down. Although I mean, I definitely see people in IRL playing and doing
Mm-hmm.
stuff. So I don't know if there may be a lot more people are engaged, just not commenting. But it is getting harder to get that kind of feedback in the Destiny world, especially for this casual stuff. Because casual people aren't always the most engaged. They might not
Right.
see videos right when they release, or
Right.
like I said, feeling that they need to comment. So
Yep.
it is a little harder for us.
Yep. Yes, indeed. But that's okay because we're still here and we're still
Hmm.
kicking. So, all right, my friend. Well, you are headed on vacation, and you said you were going to take some board games because the weather looks bad. Are you bringing Smash? And if so, which Smash decks you're bringing? Because I know you're not bringing the whole box.
If I go, I take the whole thing. I got one
Oh,
of
you
those
do?
giant backpacks
Okay.
that you take to like gaming conventions, and the whole Smash thing fits inside of it. I just built the ARH stuff IRL. It's all together. It's sleeved. So I got that built, and Casero, he was nice enough to send me one of the promo versions of Kira that I'm going to throw in there. So I got a nice, pretty like spot gloss Kira for my Smash deck. So I'll probably bring the Smash stuff, and I'm bringing Dice Throne.
Mm,
I got the expansion to Outer Rim I haven't played yet. So I got a couple games I'm bringing.
nice. Okay, so maybe the answer then is how many decks fit in your box? Maybe that's the answer.
So I have the two like the giant like shoeboxy looking things. They
Like the
hold
3200 count box, is that what you're talking, or the 1600?
yes. I don't know what's but they're like it's a big old box.
It's
Most of
it's
the
got it's
decks
got four. It's the BCW, right? And it's got 4 rows or 2 rows.
it's got 2 rows, and I've got the box like the Aegis boxed things, so they go all the way down. I
Mm-hmm.
have two of those, which I think fits
They're 1600.
about 40 of the decks in those two, and then I have another box that holds like the miscellaneous ones that didn't fit in there, and then I have a
Okay.
separate box right now that's holding the air raid. So it's and then I have to take your a couple play mats. You got to have a
Oh,
couple
that's fair.
things of the tokens. So it is like a whole kit for Smash, but it's ready to rock. I can bust it out whenever, and I leave it all built in there and in that bag, so I can just pick it up and take it.
Well, I need to answer because I have a 3200 box that I keep my other cards in, and I am gonna go see how many Smash boxes fit in, because I use
Yeah,
the. Although actually, I don't know what we're gonna do about that because we no longer have a supplier for the boxes. So that's
yeah. So it's a shame that my ARH stuff is going to have different boxes or whatever, and I like the matchy.
yeah.
So my it's just going to be one of those little things that bug me a little bit. Like those aren't the same, but.
Did you ever get
That's what
the
happened.
Did you ever get the ones for Ahsoka and Cad? Did you get those?
Mm-hmm.
You did.
I did.
Okay. You're probably one who have a handful of those. I don't have any of those, so
I think I no. I think I have an extra set. If you want them, I could probably get them to you. I'll look.
we will see. We'll see. All right. Well, we are just rambling at this point, and if anybody's still with us, bless your heart. But we just wanted to sit in, get on, and chat, smash, and Dean and I don't get to actually talk in person very often, so it was fun for the both of us, and we'll see how much of this actually makes it to Friday morning. But either way, anything else for parting words, Dean?
No, I think we got all through it. Like I said, I'd love to see Smash go forward, but if people want it to be done, like the whole idea was game boarding, board gaming Smash, and we have achieved it. And if people feel complete, that's fine. We did our job.
Yeah, absolutely. Either way, it's a mission accomplished, but maybe it's an extra credit mission to be accomplished. So, all right, my friend. Well, let's go ahead and call this. You can get to bed. I can go get to editing so we can get this up for the Friday morning. So, all right. Thank you, Dean. Say it with me, buddy. Go Commando.
Go Commando.